This is a story of an ordinary little boy named Charlie Bucket. He had all the maidens and partied like a rock star. No, that's not what happened at all. Who the hell wrote this script?
Evening, Buckets.
If you didn't get it already, this is Mr. Bucket, Charlie Bucket's father. And that's Charlie's mom, Mrs. Bucket. Amazing names. American coleslaw moment. Alright, gonna stop that guy's narration right here before he steals my job and my paycheck. Charlie's father was a worker at a toothpaste factory. He's the guy that puts all those caps on the toothpastes. Hey man, you're making this job like the one you're describing. So, anyways, Mr. Bucket would occasionally find factory defected caps, so he would take those home to Charlie as souvenirs. Honestly, impressive. Crafty should hire this guy. Scratch that, Crafty or whatever doo-doo quality BuzzFeed channel it is should take notes. By the way, that's Grandpa Joe, a Willy Wonka's stan. Hope he's not one of those crazy types. Grandpa Joe claims he used to work for Willy himself, and we're dragged into his flashback. The scene is set to the most wondrous candy shop anyone has honestly ever seen. Grandpa Joe's seen doing his business, usual. You know, I don't know how he did it, but essentially, Wonka put a small spherical candy into Joe's mouth, and he sucked on it, and boom! Out comes an actual chocolate bird that's alive. Yeah, so, essentially, Willy Wonka's Jesus. I got it. So, Grandpa Joe continues to ignore drinking his meds and tells us that Willy Wonka built a pretty poggers factory. God, why'd I use that word? Gotta give old Willy here some points, cause that's a massive factory. Giving Grandpa Joe some points too, cause he's still got game. And so, that lovely lady there is Grandma Josephine, the lady sucking face with Grandpa Joe earlier.
Tell him about the Indian.
Moving on is that Joe's story goes as follows. There was a stuck-up rich kid in India, figures, and he commissions Willy to make him a chocolate Taj Mahal. Except this wasn't a tomb. Unless scum of the earth. Anyways, we're shown that literally everything was made out of chocolate from the bricks to the cement.
It is perfect.
Yeah, Willy, to be fair, you know, if you eat all of it, you'll probably be the next Nico Cotto avocado. Wait, hold up. I thought he invented ice cream that could never melt in the face of the sun. So he invented unmelting frozen chocolate, but not this. Alright. I have two problems. One, how did that palace not get ransacked by all the world's ants? And two, how did he not already amputate the diabetes leg? And so they start bootlegging several of Wonka's products, including, but not limited to, never melting ice cream, gum that doesn't lose flavor, and bubble gum that'll blow up balloons to enormous proportions. Of course, Wonka didn't take it too well, so he closed his factory. The prunes say that the factory was closed forever, but they knew it really wouldn't be like that forever, cause grown-ups can be bigger crybabies than, well, babies. The Buckets then finish up dinner, and they all say their goodnights and go to sleep. The narrator of this movie butts in, but I won't let him because he basically says the factory goes back into visible operations.
Good night.
Now the next day, Charlie and the townspeople flock up to announcements posted by Wonka's men. Could you imagine if the prize was like a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship? That'd be a laugh. And some pencil neck from the news says golden tickets we saw earlier are in random Wonka bars, scattered around the world. Everyone around the world gets a wind of this and people go nuts. Yeah, I'd wish I find that golden ticket. I'd make people dance for it, film it, get AdSense and make money from it, and then keep the ticket for myself. I love watching monkeys dance for shiny paper. Charlie then says that his family can only afford one Wonka bar for his birthday, and Grandpa Joe says he has a chance just like everyone else.
Mark my words.
Hello, base department. Yeah, it's calling for Grandpa George, the grumpy old coot who actually makes sense.
I only get one bar a year.
Hey, would you look at that? Looks like they did cast a Type 2 Nico Cotto for the movie. Meet Augustus. And just like the Oppenheimer described, he has become death, the destroyer of worlds. At least for food, that is. He then describes how he found the ticket. Just kept eating and eating till he bit into that ticket itself. And surprisingly enough, they didn't disqualify him from the huge bite mark on that ticket. He's like the Devastator. But instead of pyramid blocks and racist robots, he sucks down that food. The news says there's only 4 golden tickets left.
Told you it'd be a poker.
We're then flown to a big mansion in the UK. And oh boy. Take that last name as foreshadowing, cause this one is spoiled. And then Mr. Salt exposes himself for being that child's bootlicker. He then gets his company to open up hundreds of thousands of Wonka bars. Days came back with no luck, and his boss, despite being a kid, started to girl boss gaslight gatekeep.
I want my golden ticket!
I don't know, should I have sympathy for Veruca's father? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, after millions of quid of searching, One of the workers found it. Yeah, she wanted to sneak that out, but the old man's got an eagle eye, apparently. Charming, isn't she?
Don't worry about it, Charlie.
Giga Chad Grandpa George flexes again. Charlie says that it isn't fair, and Grandpa G agrees that spoiled children are the filth of the earth. Charlie's parents then arrive, and they get an advance on Charlie's birthday present, a Wonka bar. Oh, hold on to your seats, and nothing. They're left disappointed. But hey, it's what it is. So Charlie passes the pieces of chocolate around instead. But I'm more surprised that the old people can chew those. Now the next day, Charlie goes out to the town and brings home a newspaper that says,
It was found by Miss Violet Beauregard.
yeah, no, this one's a mini version of Black Widow. Violet absolutely beats the crap out of those grown men. And then her mother brags her like Kanye bragging Kim around. Obviously, the smug and snarky woman is Mrs. Beauregard, Violet's mother. Violet then brags that she's a junior champion gum chewer, and she says that the gum she's chewing right now is 3 months old. You got that right, Granny. Violet looks like she's about to kick people's teeth in.
Dragonflies?
And then right away the news gets wind of the 4th golden ticket found by someone named Mike TV. So we're taken to the next brat on the list. And lo and behold, it's some epic gamer. As Grandpa George continues to be based, our audio and Charlie's ear are covered up by his dad. God bless for censorship. There's one last golden ticket left. And after Grandpa George swears like a Fortnite YouTuber, Charlie's dad then says he's got a vacation from work. When in reality,
The factory had decided to modernize.
they get a machine to do his job. Then they fire him. The end. Mr. Bucket talks to Mrs. Bucket outside on how even with a job they barely ate. And Mrs. Bucket reassures him that he'll find a new job and make less soup. Back inside, Grandpa Joe gives him one last quarter to buy one last go for that golden ticket. And he gets that candy. And lo and behold, utter disappointment. Just like me. Charlie goes out for a walk and overhears 2 gentlemen walking their dogs on how some kid in Ukraine's invaders got the last golden ticket. He continues his walk and, just like that, finds $10 on the snow. He then heads to the store to buy.
One Wonka.
The owner gives him one. Meanwhile, a lady reading a newspaper next to him sees that the Russian kid that got the ticket was actually a fake. He then opens that bar and boom, utter wait. Oh yeah. Then the crazy store goers proceed to try to mooch off the ticket from him.
Thank you.
Charlie's going crazy, running home, shouting to his family on the way that he found that last golden ticket that probably drove Wonka's stocks up the global market.
But that's tomorrow.
The parents decide who's going with Charlie on this visit, as Grandpa Joe's insisting. The parents accept it. The next day, the contestants and a crowd gather outside of Johnny Depp's Diabetes Accelerator factory. A chair appears, but no Willy Wonka.
My name is Willy Wonka.
He does seem swallowed for words, though. Willie then tells them to drop their coats anywhere, and Mr. TV notices it's hot in the factory. Willie says it's like that for the workers since they can't stand cold weather. They move forward, everyone looking immensely excited as they gaze upon the candy-filled land. Augustus looking like he's tripping off his own DMT, and they cross a chocolate lake. Willie says the chocolate waterfall is a one-of-a-kind. He then introduces a pipe that sucks the chocolate from the lake, and then he goes to say that the grass is edible. Well, actually, everyone helps themselves to candy located around the room. Mike's smashing pumpkins, Violet stealing apples from Charlie. Augustus's mom is bagging all of the goodies that she can get her hands on. And Augustus, well, Veruca then spots something or someone in the distance. Willie says that they're from a magical place called Loompa Land. But Mr. TV, being stiff as his fugly child, shuts him down, just because he teaches high school geography. He went there to look for new flavors of candy, but found little men and women instead. He's then served by the chief with a disgusting mix of caterpillars and other bugs, and drop a Jake Paul album in there for extra stank. So he offers them to the chief. In exchange, they'll work for him. Augustus's mother then sees a terrible, terrible sight. That fat brainlet then, of course, falls into the Choco Lake while Willie and the others watch. His mother says that he can't drown, but he gets sucked into those pipes. Of course, like the pig he is, he blocks those pipes. And the Oompa Loompas get into some celebratory mood that, well, they break into a song. Wonka then calls one of the Oompa Loompas and asks him to take Mrs. Gloop to the fudge room. The Oompa Loompa then leads Mrs. Gloop to that said room. After the sass, Willie leads the visitors to a candy dragon ship on the chocolate lake rowed by Oompa Loompas.
What's so funny?
Now Willie has a fun fact about Chocos in love, which Mrs. Beauregard tries to flirt with him. But that just leaves old Willie weirded out. Let's take the hint, he just really wants to make some candy. After they get on, Willie shares some chocolate from the lake to Charlie. He then repeats himself on the importance of the waterfall. Veruca butts in, saying he already said that, and Wonka teases him for being short despite being children.
Speed ahead!
Willie orders the boat to go at full speed, and we're taking a bumpy ride inside a tunnel. They approach some rooms, like the hair cream room and the whipped cream room, which is literally made by physically whipping a cow. Looks like Pete is gonna sue. Then they're taken on another bumpy ride, and they stop at the inventing room. Everyone scatters across the room. Violet finds a pool and some Oompa Loompa diving in it, so she gets curious. Willie then shows everyone what it is. The tour continues, and Willie pulls a lever to a big machine, which makes an incredibly small piece of gum. Mike starts mumbling again, like a little doo-doo head, but Willie claims that it's the best gum in the world.
To the juicing room at once.
Soon, we arrive at the nut sorting room, otherwise known as the boys' locker room. You nutted out a mistake, to be honest.
I want a squirrel!
Wonka narrates how they're so good at sorting out nuts, from good to bad. Veruca wants one of those trained squirrels. So Salt tries to buy one off of Wonka, but he refuses because they're not for sale, you wretched little vermin. Of course, Veruca throws a fit. Veruca's still insisting, and the little demon that she is, she takes matters into her own hands and goes into that squirrel's territory. She approaches one of them, and the squirrels begin to notice. Veruca gets close to one of the squirrels and reaches out to it. All the squirrels scatter, and her father wants to rescue her. I don't get why he doesn't just hop over the gate. Willie brings out a comically large set of keys to that gate. But the squirrels are starting to attack her one by one. Soon they swarm Veruca and make the little urchin fall down. The squirrels steadily hold her down, and one squirrel gets on top of her and knocks on her empty noggin.
Testing to see if she's a bad nut.
Willie says that they're testing if she's a bad nut. That's what I've been trying to say this entire movie. Mr. Salt asks, where does that chute lead? Down the hellhole Veruca goes. Wonka tells Salt to just reach in and pull her out. He then lets Mr. Salt through, and it's time for Broadway. While Salt's looking down the hole, a squirrel pushes him off it. An Oompa Loompa tells Willie that the incinerator has been broken for 3 weeks, so that's 3 weeks of nasties on the Salts. That's a happy ending. The survivors of the squirrels then go into the clear high-tech elevator. Willie says it's so high-tech that it's omnidirectional. The cast are then taken into different rooms around the factory, including an indoor mountain that has fudge, a room that breeds and shears cotton candy sheep, which Willie doesn't want to talk about, a hospital for puppets, the administration offices, and a room full of machine guns and cannons that shoot giant pieces of candy.
I'll run away.
We're taken back to Wilbur telling his son that he doesn't want him to become a chocolatier. So little Willie decides to run away. Willie then runs away to the local flag museum. In a span of a day, Wilbur managed to become the next Harry Houdini, making his entire house disappear from the streets, says the little excrement. Willie gives him the go, and he picks the TV room. Wonka asks him to put on some glasses, as the light is comparable to a thermonuclear bombs. In this room, he says he's found a way to transport chocolate from one place to the other. Astounding invention, but the TVs run their mouths off until
Okie dokie.
a big Wonka bar is brought in. Willie says it's gotta be big so that when it gets into the TV, it'll scale well. The chocolate gets into a glass apparatus and is blasted by a bright flashing light. Wonka takes him to the beginning ape scene in 2000: A Space Odyssey. The chocolate then replaces the obelisk in the scene. Wonka asks Mike to take it.
Take it.
But he thinks it's just a picture. Willie then calls him a wuss, and instead asks Charlie to grab it. He reaches in, lo and behold, it's real. Wonka asks him to eat it. Charlie, of course, a simp for Wonka, thinks it's good. Willie then says that he's developing this technology to advance his advertising campaign, which is honestly clever, not gonna lie. Mike's running that mouth again. His parents should really invest in vocal cord extraction. A true God-given gift to the world. That's a lie. So Mike runs to the teleporter, knocks a few Oompa Loompas off, pushes the activation button, and he runs to that teleportation pad. The moron doesn't even think about the repercussions of transporting living things through space and time. He gets blasted by the same ray of light. Wonka remarks that sometimes the teleported chocolate has missing parts and pieces. Oh, be the tongue, be the tongue, be the tongue. Ah, what's that, boys and girls? It's celebratory song and dance time. Willie sees him and asks somebody to grab the little snot.
Just put me back in
Then Willie figures out another genius idea. Willie then asks an Oompa Loompa to take Mr. TV and his little Figma to a jar, or taffy puller. Yeah, let's go with that. Probably an attempt to return him to normal size. Like that kid was ever normal to begin with. Willie asks how many kids are left and sees Charlie is the only one. Willie's so excited to show Charlie all sorts of things, but he bangs his face on that clear elevator. The elevator launches like SpaceX rockets out the chimney. They get about a few hundred feet up until with the push of a button, Wonka activates the thrusters on the elevator. Below you can see the discarded, undesirable children. Augustus covered in chocolate, Violet being as flexible as a rubber band, the Salts covered in their own kind, and Mike being stretched out like a paper doll that your fat classmate sat and farted on. Those rotten brats are finally expelled, and Willie asks where Charlie lives.
Where do you live?
He points out to a little house near the outskirts of town. The elevator crashes to Charlie's house. Willie, to the displeasure of him saying the word parents, meets Charlie's folks. He then reveals Charlie's prize for winning.
To give this little boy my entire factory.
He's insisting he's telling the truth because months ago he had his flamboyant Armin Alert haircut. He saw one white hair, and he thought he was going to die the next second. He needed an heir to the throne. That's a bummer for Charlie. Pick me, Mr. Wonka. I'm not rotten, and I want to leave my family behind. Willie tells him that a family gets in the way of running a chocolate factory like an old dead goose. This movie in a nutshell? Daddy issues. Charlie then gives a sentimental speech about not giving up his family for anything in the world. Willie's caught by surprise and is weirded out by all of it. He says his goodbyes and promptly leaves in the elevator. And the next morning, the buckets fixed the hole in the roof. Grandpa Joe spent the entire day sweeping the floors, and Charlie's father became the maintenance guy for the machine that replaced him in the factory he used to work at. We see Willie in therapy with an Oompa Loompa Sigmund Freud. And Willie realizes he's been recently making terrible candy because he feels terrible. He thanks Oompa Sigmund, even though he didn't say a word. That's the power of listening. Charlie's here doing his big CEO grind by shining people's shoes. The customer begins to talk about how bad Willy Wonka is to Charlie, and Charlie tells the customer Wonka has a yee-yee haircut.
I do not.
Willie confesses that he has issues with any family. Charlie then convinces him to at least try to ask his father if he's valuable to him, as he goes with him in the flying elevator, but not before, of course, crashing his face on it. Convenient that they found Houdini's house. Willie rings the doorbell, and Wilbur takes Willie for a dental inspection, not knowing at first that this was his son. Charlie looks through the clinic walls and finds framed newspaper clippings of Willy Wonka's success stories, showing Daddy still did care, despite making an entire house disappear off the block. Soon, the tooth inspection makes Wilbur slowly realize that his customer was... Come on, you guys can do it. Reach for it. Reach for it. There you go. It's better than hover handing him, right? Willie then repeats his offer to Charlie, and he accepts under one predictable condition, that his family comes along with him to live at that factory. So, Willie joins the Buckets as a family and eats dinner with them. We slowly pan out of the Bucket house, which is actually now inside Wonka's chocolate factory, specifically the first meadow where Augustus was supposed to have drowned in that chocolate. And let me get back to my job as narrator saying that Charlie won that factory, but Willie got something 10 times better, a family. That was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, my friends, a 2005 film by Warner Brothers, directed by the legendary Tim Burton, starring infamous Johnny Depp, Freddie Highmore, David Kelly, and Sir Christopher Lee. Rest in peace, you will be missed. Thanks for sticking with us on Cinema Recap. Like the video if you're feeling it, dislike it if you hate it. I'm out. Till next time.